Hey, Kentucky, this is Mary Jo Perino. Tonight, we'll wrap up a wild night in the governor's race, plus a clean sweep for the GOP and other statewide elections. And Kentucky basketball starts off with a bang at the Garden. All that and more is next on Hey, Kentucky. Welcome to Hey, Kentucky, a guy who knows a thing or two about elections. Former Lexington City Councilman Kevin Stinnett is my co-host tonight. We were up late watching craziness from all things, and we're going to talk about all of it today.
Very, very late, but shout out to all the people who voted yesterday. Phenomenal turnout. Phenomenal.
So impressed, so impressed. So we got to begin, of course, with that Kentucky governor's race. It remains unresolved this day after the election. Unofficial results show that Democratic challenger Andy Beshear won by just over 5,000 votes, but incumbent Matt Bevin is refusing to call it quits, calling for a recanvass.
This is a close race. We are not conceding this race by any stretch. There is a process. We know for a fact that there have been more than a few irregularities. They are very well corroborated, and that's all right. What they are exactly, how many, which ones, and what effect, if any, they have will be determined according to law that's well established.
Now, the governor's race drew national attention all night long, and President Trump didn't hesitate to weigh in again. Last night, he tweeted about his election eve stop in Lexington helping Kentucky Republicans on the ballot. Meanwhile, Andy Beshear is going full speed ahead with a transition plan.
You know, the election ended last night. Today, we are moving past politics into governance, being focused on public education, pensions, health care, and jobs, and changing the tone so that we can be an administration that serves every family.
So the Commonwealth is asking, where do we go from here? The recanvass is set for next Thursday. We'll talk more about that coming up a little bit later. But Senate President Robert Stiver says that the Republican-controlled legislature could end up deciding the race. Kevin, I really hope that doesn't happen, because that's just going to put the state in a tailspin for a while.
You know, I agree. It shouldn't happen. You know, this is the reason why he did get beat, and what he showed last night during what was supposed to be a concession speech. The recanvass, okay, let's do it, but let's leave it there, whatever it turns out.
Yeah, so he can talk about irregularities, but Republicans fared well everywhere else except for him.
Well, when the Attorney General race, the Republican Attorney General who won received more votes than Governor Bevin.
Yeah.
That's an issue. I think a lot of Republicans skipped him and voted for the rest of the ticket.
Yeah, it sure seemed like it. And Andy Beshear, I appreciate him moving on. And he's not heard from Matt Bevin, but he's not knocked him today for wanting to do that, which I appreciate.
Well, recanvass is the opportunity for everyone. So let's see what happens and go from there. But it's time to move on, Kentucky.
It is. As we mentioned, all the other statewide races were won by Republicans. Daniel Cameron, you just heard it here from Kevin, defeated Democrat Greg Stumbo for the office of Attorney General, making him the first African American to hold that position in Kentucky history and the first Republican to win it since 1948. Cameron says he doesn't plan to take a partisan approach to the job.
I don't see the job based on who's in the governor's mansion. The job, really, in my judgment, is about being the chief law enforcement officer and working with whomever, whether you have a Republican or Democratic designation by your name, it does not matter.
Here's a look at the other winners from the GOP. Michael Adams bested Heather French Henry for Secretary of State. Ryan Quarles reelected as Ag Commissioner. Allison Ball returns as State Treasurer, and Mike Harmon was reelected as State Auditor. As for voter turnout, significantly more Kentuckians showed up to the polls than expected. The State Board of Elections reports that voter turnout was over 42%, following a prediction of 31%. And Kevin, that is just awesome. I love that people came out and voted, and in such a close race, that's what people tend to do.
Well, I'm glad the apathy that voters have had over the years is gone. This shows they showed up. I'm excited about it. And for, you know, the Attorney General, the first African-American Attorney General, first minority Attorney General, that is awesome for our state. Let's hope Lexington one day follows suit. Lexington's a great community. We're supposed to be diverse. Let's hope we can do that one day, too, because we've never had that here either.
Yeah, I'll tell my husband to run tonight. I feel like he should do it.
I'm on board. I'm on board. 2021.
All right. right, staying with politics, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul is drawing national attention for his comments during the speech at the Trump rally here in Lexington Monday night. The senator called for the media to unmask the Ukraine whistleblower in the impeachment investigation, drawing cheers from the Rupp Arena crowd. Yesterday, Paul expanded on the idea, saying he might decide to disclose the name of the informant himself and that the law does not prevent him from doing it. Now, some of his Senate colleagues disagree with that claim, and they say they're worried about the precedent that such a revelation would set. There are fears that government sources would be less likely to reveal wrongdoing in future presidencies. Kevin, he can't just go out and name the whistleblower. I just would totally disagree with that.
Well, Rand Paul says he can, but I don't think it's relevant at this point. I think, yeah, curiosity. Would I like to know the name? Sure, I would. But I think at this point, it's time to find out and put an end to whatever the whistleblower says happened. Let them do their process and move on, because it's really distracting the country.
To me, Trump even seemed surprised that Rand Paul went as far as he did during the rally.
Well, he got the biggest applause according to the media. So obviously Rand Paul knows something maybe the president doesn't.
Rand Paul probably knows a lot the president doesn't, but that's just me.